Me. And we gotta keep it hype. Keep it hype. Represent it for life. You know how we do it. Woo! Hey! Jacksonville Jags. We don't mean to brag, but when we on the field, we got it in the bag. Jacksonville Jags. You know how we ball. Best believe it. Got the people screaming out, Duval. Jacksonville Jags. We don't mean to brag, but when we on the field, we got it in the bag. Jacksonville Jags. You know how we ball. Best believe it. Got the people screaming out, Duval. Okay, Jacksonville Jaguars. Too much for your crew to handle.
And what is going on, everybody? Welcome back into Club. Whoops, pressed the wrong button there. Welcome back into Club Jaguar, your favorite show right here on this channel. Wednesday nights at 8:30. Maybe not every Wednesday. We'll figure out a schedule when there's big stuff going on. We'll definitely come out here and go live. But for now, check you guys out on Wednesday nights at 8:30. But yeah, these streams are powered by BetUS, by the way. And as we get further into this stream, we'll go ahead and put up some BetUS odds because look, they actually have next Jaguars head coaching odds, and I think there's a lot of rumors going around about who the next head coach is. But honestly, one of the best indicators is where the betting sites are, and in this case, BetUS, because they're putting their money where their mouth is, right? They're not just out there spewing crap. So yeah, shout out to BetUS, 150% deposit bonus using promo code YouTube150. So I'll bring in the first suspect. I got Jordan DeLugo from the Gin Jag YouTube channel. What's up, Jordan?
What is going on, Dalton? How we doing?
Dude, all is good in the hood is what they say, man. But yeah.
Week and a half into this coaching search.
Yeah, man. A week and a half. I'm trying not to focus on it too much because rumors are like crazy. I'm just trying to enjoy the weather, man. We got a few months of like not brutal heat, so I'm just trying to kick it back and enjoying it out there.
Yeah, I'm driving to Pigeon Forge tomorrow, so it's gonna be icy, frigid.
There you go, man. I can't.
So yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this last night of like mild winter.
Yeah, before we get into the real thick of it. And next up, we'll go ahead and bring in the latest suspect. He wasn't here last week, but he's rested. He's back. The health is good. He's rolling his sleeves up for the show. We got Jason from Jaguars United. What up, Jason?
What's up, boys? How's it going? Sorry I missed last week. Feel bad about that, but thought it was a little weird that you texted me, Dalton, about how you hated doing a show with just Jordan and you needed me back. Yeah. But so I'm here. You requested it, so I'm back. Yeah.
Well, Jordan carries the show. Okay, so we had to have him come in here. I need you with the assistants as well to come in here. But yeah, man, we got lots of stuff going on here. Appreciate you guys, of course, for joining me. And look, guys, we're right in the thick of a head coach search, man. And dude, like every single day, it feels like when you turn on Twitter, different people are saying different stuff. Like, it felt like for a while, like, okay, it's Ben Johnson or Liam Coen. Then like Robert Saleh came out of nowhere. Now he's a name. And then, both today, Dianne Rossini and Jeff Darlington reported that Ben Johnson really wants a Jaguars job. And now Adam Schefter is sitting here saying that, he feels like Ben Johnson is going to the Raiders and taking the Raiders job, which is unbelievable to me because he hasn't even had an interview with them. So I don't know, a bunch of weird stuff. Jason, we didn't get many of your thoughts from last week. So like right now, who would you say, which coaching candidate is your favorite to potentially land here as head coach?
I thought we were hiring Patrick Graham. Did I miss something? I thought we were getting the highly touted Patrick Graham in here, but no, seriously. I've been an Aaron Glenn guy since day one. I'll say day one. I love Ben Johnson. Obviously, he's the pick if he's available. I don't think I've made this evidently clear on this show. Gotten hate for it. Don't think Ben Johnson will come here. So because of that, my next guy would be Aaron Glenn. I really like these culture guys that can come in. I use that word a lot, but Aaron Glenn, I wouldn't hate Liam Coen. I would have some reservations. You guys kind of touched on all of this last week. I was watching, but I think my favorite as of now would be Liam Coen. I know that's easy because that's what Vegas says, but Liam Coen, Aaron Glenn, I wouldn't be pissed about Cliff Kingsbury. But at this point, it's anyone's guess. But there's a lot of good jobs out. I mean, a lot of good candidates out there. So hopefully they just get someone that can be a leader of men, as people like to say.
And by the way, Liam Coen actually interviewed today for the Jaguars job. So I know, Jordan, I know you were kind of thinking Liam Coen last week, but I guess what's your temperature on Liam Coen this week?
I still think it's the most likely scenario. I think it's going to be Liam Coen or Ben Johnson, quite frankly. I think Shad Khan's going to want somebody who is going to be an offensive play caller. I think those are going to be their top two guys. I think they're going to get one of their top two guys. This is an attractive job, even with Trent Baalke, and there's more suitors for Ben Johnson, right? There are,
Yes.
than there are for Liam Coen.
I mean,
And
Jags
so
are the only people that interviewed Liam Coen, right?
Right. So I look at that and I say, you know, there's still a fair chance that Ben Johnson ends up in Jacksonville, but you've also got the Bears who are hot and heavy. You've got the Raiders who are hot and heavy, and the Raiders seem to give him the most autonomy at this point with Trent Baalke still as the Jaguars GM. The Raiders job has the most autonomy because they don't have a general manager right now. And the Bears obviously have a power structure in place as well. So I just look at Ben Johnson and I say, well, he has some alternatives. He has some options. And so that leads me again back to Liam Coen saying, if Liam Coen wants a head coaching job this cycle and he wants to work with Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr., this is all he's got. And he doesn't have as much leverage to get Baalke out as Ben Johnson does. So that's kind of why I think it's going to be Liam Coen.
So, Jason, when you talk about the Jaguars not necessarily being a very attractive job, is that pretty much solely on the fact that Trent Baalke is still looming in the building?
That's a big part of it. Not to mention, you can look back throughout almost every single coach here in Jacksonville, and they have not been successful. Offensive coaches, defensive coaches, culture guys, young play callers, college coaches. No one's successful here. And I think that factors in a lot more than people think. And when you look at, yes, there's Trevor, there's BTJ, but Jordan didn't even mention the Cowboys jobs now open. So, I mean, there's just when you start looking at these different jobs, obviously with Tom Brady being involved in the Vegas negotiations, it just pushes the Jags down. And I just think that we've kind of gotten the moniker that this is where coaches come to fail, I feel like. And obviously coaches are arrogant. They want to run their own system. But if you're Ben Johnson and you're looking at the Cowboys, and you're looking at Vegas, you're looking at Chicago, you're looking at Jacksonville, biggest Jags fan out there. But if I'm him, I'm not going to Jacksonville. So I just think that it does leave us with kind of that Liam Coen tier. I mean, yes, it's an attractive job if you're Robert Saleh, but I just don't think that with I say this all the time. There's a stink on this team. There's a losing culture here. And I mean, look what the Lions had to do to turn theirs around. They had to go and get Dan Campbell, who people wanted to fire his first 2 years. So, I mean, that's kind of what it takes. We are in a similar situation as the Lions were when that job was open. So I think that's what it's going to take. And that's why I'm beating the drum on these culture guys that can come in and do that. And, I think to answer your question, I think that coaches not having success here and not winning here is just as big as a factor under Shad Khan as Baalke being here.
I agree with that. I would say though, from a coach's perspective, when you look at the infrastructure in place, this is not the same job as the Lions was when Dan Campbell took over. That was much more of a rebuild. Now, can you sit here and say Trent Baalke is a problem? Absolutely. And that wasn't an issue for Dan Campbell taking that Lions job, right? So I think the infrastructure is much stronger than it was in Detroit, just personnel-wise. And you can come in here and create your own coaching staff. And I don't think that the losing in Jacksonville has had as much to do with Shad Khan and his inability to support a coach. It has had more to do with his inability to choose the correct coach, right? He supports the coach. He stays out of their business. He gives them all the money they need in free agency. They always have a ton of draft capital, which comes down to coaching as well and roster management. But I don't think that there's some issue with Shad Khan's ability to support the head coach and this franchise's ability to support the head coach. More so, I think there is a little bit of a Trent Baalke issue. There is. And I think that they've struggled to hire head coaches who can basically keep up with the modern game. I mean, Doug Marrone, let's be real, right? Doug Peterson, good hire at the time, struggled to keep up with the modern game, made some really poor choices in terms of he let go of the reins of play calling, let Press Taylor become the play caller. And I think that was his downfall ultimately, and also his inability to get a defensive coordinator that could get the job done. Before that, Gus Bradley was coaching for how long? Urban Meyer. Like, he's done a poor job picking head coaches. I think that has been the biggest downfall in Jacksonville.
Yeah, and that's been a big thing. Is it just feels like without Trent Baalke, I mean, I have no doubt this is an extremely attractive job. It's unbelievable how negative of a perception that Trent Baalke has. I mean, he's just widely known as such a backstabber, and he's just such a cancer that's somehow gonna, no matter what, he may not be GM, but he might get demoted to another position. It's insane the amount of measures that like Shad Khan just won't get this guy out of the building. And right now, it would be terrible optics to fire him after all that went on. And if Shad Khan really does want a Ben Johnson, and if he could either hire a Ben Johnson who doesn't want Trent Baalke, or a Liam Coen who does want Trent Baalke, if that's the ultimate difference, then that's insane. Like you're gonna miss out on who Shad Khan perceives as the number one guy, because he wants to keep the GM around. Apparently the only guy in the building that he actually trusts with.
Well, and that's an assumption at this point.
Yeah.
We don't know. None of us know what Shad Khan's going to decide to do. He openly said he was open to potentially moving on and changing the power structure if the head coach that he wants deems that to be a credible move, right? He said that. And we've heard reports from a lot of guys out there, a lot of folks out there, that he could potentially move on from Baalke if Liam Coen didn't want to work with Baalke. There's reports that he would move on from him then. So we don't know. I still lean towards, predictively, he's not going to move on from Baalke and he's going to get Coen. But to assume that that is the case and use that as fact, I don't think is fair either.
So I don't think using what Shad Khan said about him moving on from Baalke is fact. I know he said
it's not. Neither thing is fact right now.
Right, exactly.
We don't know.
Right.
We don't know.
I mean, I think that how poorly organized and structured that press conference was, I think I have a little bit of an issue of everybody hanging on that one sentence that Shad Khan said as like religion is a little misguided, because
I agree.
You know what I mean? So
but then there's also the reports coming out, which of
that's
course the national media always seems to be wrong about the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Always.
And there's different reports today. Diane Rossini and Jeff Darlington are saying different things that Adam Schefter said today about Ben Johnson.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, that's why I just lean towards Liam Coen being the most likely answer, because he's not getting a lot of interviews. I don't think he has the leverage to say it's me or Trent Baalke. I don't think he would do that, because again, for all the faults that are here in Jacksonville with the job, Liam Coen could sit there and again say, I'm having an opportunity right now to be a head coach in the NFL and coach Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. And I have a lot of cap space and I have a lot of draft capital. And there is a level of talent on this team that cannot be, like, there's a lot of talent here. They're not a championship caliber roster, but they are a competitive roster, in my opinion. So I could see Liam Coen saying, this is my shot. Let's take it.
And one thing we do know about Liam Coen is he's okay with being somewhere for a year, right? He's shown that. So if anyone's comfortable just like popping in for a year and then moving somewhere else, he could go back to Kentucky after a year and be fine. So that also helps that argument.
Yeah, and what Jason's talking about, so the last 4 years, he went from the OC for Kentucky, then he moved on to the OC at the Rams, then back to Kentucky, and then now with the Buccaneers, all 1 year stints. And I'm curious, and I want to ask you guys, because I know there's a few things that do kind of concern me about Liam Coen, and one of them is that is the whole, I don't know if he should necessarily be counted as a 1 year wonder, but I know when you look around, for example, last year Bobby Slowick was this name that was this is the next big guy. He got legitimate head coaching opportunities.
Mhm.
It seems like he missed out on it, and now his second year as a coordinator, he's been awful, and he's been basically, Texans fans are blaming him for the downfall of their team. I mean, do you guys see any parallels between Bobby Slowick and potentially Liam Coen?
You can go first, Jason.
I was gonna say, I mean, the Texans are still playing, so there's that. So
How many
32 on a
picks
pretty
their
good defense.
all the negative things you want to say, they're still playing.
Yeah, but they forced 5 interceptions on the Lions and still lost. I mean, their defense can only take them their defense can lead them to victories against the Chargers or any of these other teams with losing records. I mean, Texas only had 1 win against a winning opponent in 2024, and I came in early October.
Well, they just had another one.
Yeah, but the Chargers, dude, the Chargers are notorious for being chokers.
I mean, I know Jordan's going to say this. I mean, I don't even think it's fair to evaluate him because of the amount of injuries the Texans had this year. I mean, it would be the same excuses we gave for our coaches when we had all those injuries last year. But I do get the sentiment of these 1 year wonders, and I think that's why these guys like Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn have, and even Joe Brady, who showed he could do it at the college level with LSU, even though that team was stacked. But there is a little bit of hesitation for me with Liam Coen, but I think that's why it makes him a great candidate here, is because he's okay with jumping and saying, "Hey, I'll give it a shot and see what happens," because I can always go back to Kentucky. So I think that makes him a great candidate.
Yeah, I think comparing the resume of, so one thing you can say is Liam Coen has done it at multiple stops. Ben Johnson, he's only been the Lions offensive coordinator. He's done a freaking amazing job there, right? Aaron Glenn, same thing. He moved up through the ranks, but he's only been the defensive coordinator in Detroit, but he's been amazing there. And what a leader he is. What a leader Aaron Glenn is. But I think comparing the resumes of Joe Brady and Liam Coen are pretty interesting, because Brady, I mean, who has he worked with as an offensive coordinator? He was in Carolina. That didn't work out, and I think he was scapegoated. I really don't blame him for that situation. And then his second stint as offensive coordinator in the NFL, he has Josh Allen, right? Like, that could get a lot worse. And how did he get to the NFL? By being the passing game coordinator for Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson.
That'd be fun.
I love Joe Brady. I think he's going to be a good coach whenever he gets his opportunity. But resume-wise, I think that's a little flimsy compared to making Will Levis look like a first-round pick, getting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing so physically on the offensive line and run blocking and getting that run game going, I thought was so impressive, and dealing with all the injuries he did this year. And then also having the experience, not only of being the offensive coordinator under Sean McVay, but also being an assistant coach under Sean McVay years prior to that. So I think Liam Coen, he's a hell of a candidate in my opinion.
So when in 2022, the Rams went 5-12, do you attribute any of that to him, or you think that that there was circumstantial stuff?
Wasn't Stafford injured that year?
Yeah, Stafford was hurt. They had a few guys hurt. I think that was the year where Baker Mayfield went in there and led a Thursday night game.
Yeah, they were like in a desperate situation from an offensive personnel standpoint that year. So it doesn't concern me necessarily. Would you have liked it to be all check marks, like, yes, this year he was offensive coordinator, it was perfect? Yeah, but I mean, that's not going to be a typical resume. You're usually going to have some blemishes. And again, I think being an offensive coordinator under Sean McVay, having that experience, and then going back to Kentucky doing a good job, and then going to Tampa and doing an amazing job, I think that speaks volumes.
Interesting. So of course, Liam Cohen's kind of leading. It seems like it's between him or Ben Johnson. Do you think there's any smoke behind Joe Brady? Do you think he winds up taking like maybe the New Orleans Saints jobs or potentially the Raiders job? I feel like I haven't seen a lot of linking of him to Jacksonville, at least with the national media, which, you know, what the hell do they know?
Not much.
Yeah.
Not much. In terms of what the national media knows. Joe Brady to Jacksonville, I haven't heard any smoke about it either. I honestly do believe they're locked in on Ben Johnson and Liam Coen.
Yeah. No, that's what it feels like. And it's just which national reporter has it right, you know?
I have a little thought experiment for y'all.
Let's hear it.
If you're a GM of another team, okay, and you can pluck one player from the Jaguars to take to your team, who are you taking?
Oh, I think that's easy, right? I mean, what do you need? Wide receiver?
Well, it depends on what you have, right?
Okay, let's say you're taking best available player.
Well, again, you're not going to take Trevor Lawrence if you have a quarterback.
No, you're not taking Trevor Lawrence. That's not the right answer.
Well, best available player.
It's Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, or Josh Hines-Allen. I mean, depending on.
I would say it'd be Josh Hines-Allen. That's what I think, because
I think it's got to be BTJ.
I mean, BTJ is good and all. I mean, I get it, but he is his rookie year. He's done it one time. Josh Allen, I think, is like the clear. I'm not clear, but he's definitely like the guy you'd take. Then
if you want to say one offense, one defense, those are the two.
Okay, so we'll take BTJ. All right, so then let's
special
say
teamer. You got way too many Pro Bowls to choose from. Don't make me do that.
Oh wait, hold on. I'm getting to my point here. Okay, so we'll say Josh Hines-Allen, BTJ are gone. Who's the second player you're taking, or the third player?
I mean, I think Trayvon is up there.
Trayvon.
How about Walker Little?
Trevor is obviously up there.
Okay, so I would say Trayvon Walker, probably, right?
Yeah, Trayvon. Probably.
Then let's look at the Pro Bowlers from our team. What positions do they play?
Punter and long snapper.
So now we're looking at the two of the best players on our team being defensive players. Tyson Campbell's probably in the mix at some point as far as best player on the team. Your Pro Bowl players are punter and long snapper. You have a great kicker.
Well, Pro Bowl players from a down year. I mean, let's talk about when this team was humming and players are actually playing to their talent level. Tyson Campbell has played at a Pro Bowl level.
Tyson Campbell. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, you got guys like Foye Oluokun, who would be
Pro Bowl level type of guy.
I think that's Pro Bowl. So now what are we looking at? We're looking at a long list of defensive players and a special teams unit that's exceptional. Doesn't it make sense? Our best chance at winning in the future is to bring in a defensive guy who can really solidify this defense with the best players on our roster, utilize the special teams and win games that way. Doesn't that probability-wise make – I know it's not the sexiest decision, but doesn't that probability-wise set us up for the best for wins?
I thought you were making a point for Keith Farwell.
Yeah, baby.
Keith Farwell. Hey, I love special teams coach. I think special teams coaches are the best head coaches. I've always said that. I think they coach players at every position. They are good in special situations, unique situations. They don't have to worry about offense and defense, but whatever. Evan Ingram's go too. But wouldn't it make sense to bring in an Aaron Glenn and solidify this defense and bring in an offensive coordinator to be good with the offense and win games that way? I know it's not sexy, but doesn't that make the most sense, like on paper?
I mean,
I think so, because you have a franchise quarterback that needs help.
I mean, here's the way I see it. Like, I legitimately believe that Aaron Glenn might be the best head coach in this bunch. But when you bring in an Aaron Glenn, what you're doing is you're automatically accepting the fact that you're not going to bring in the best offensive mind. You're also, when you bring in a Ben Johnson, he's bringing in Mark Brunell as well, and they did a hell of a lot of work with Jared Goff. I just don't know, if you hire an Aaron Glenn, that's great, but it doesn't feel like the job is over. Now it feels like, okay, now we got to figure out who the OC is, and it's not as big of a pool when it comes to if you bring in a head coach and he has so much control of the offense. And and my goal is, like, if you bring in a Ben Johnson or a Liam Coen, like, I want them to bring in like an established defensive coordinator. Like, I don't want them messing around and finding, Liam Cohen's going to bring over the linebackers coach from the Buccaneers, like how Mike Caldwell was. Like, I want them saying, okay, I got the job. Let me go get Robert Saleh, or let me go bring in one of these guys that we know can be a defense coordinator. They might be pigeonholed in that role. There's certain coaches out there like, Spagnuolo and different coaches like that's pretty much their role. They may get a head coach interview here and there, but they're defensive coordinators. I mean, that's how I'd like it to happen.
I'll tell you what, I would believe in Aaron Glenn finding the right guy. Would I believe in Robert Saleh finding the right guy?
No.
Unless he brought back Mike LaFleur.
Which that'd be fine. But
Yeah,
would Mike be
hey,
like, yeah,
yeah,
let's do it again, bro. You fired me, but let's do it again.
Let's bring back the good times, man. Bring back the good times.
Hey,
So,
Mike
yeah,
LaFleur, Mike LaFleur's gaining a little bit of traction. I don't know if y'all been seeing that. He's been gaining. I'm just saying, I've been on Mike LaFleur since day one.
Yeah.
No, the thing I'm scared of is that Robert Saleh. The thing I'm scared about is Robert Saleh's picking up traction. What the hell's going on there?
Well,
I honestly think, Shad Khan knows and has worked with him before, right? He was the Jaguars linebackers coach during Shad Khan's era as the owner. And I think he's a respectable dude. I think he's a really good defensive coach. Really good defensive coach. I also think he got hosed in New York in a lot of different ways. A lot of different fronts. Like, it was just crazy owner, crazy quarterback, horrible quarterback pick at number 2 overall.
you brought in Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's the crazy quarterback I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So again, I don't think he's the same type of leader as Aaron Glenn. I think Aaron Glenn's just on another level. I really do. But I think there's like a non-zero chance that Robert Saleh, if he did get the right offensive coordinator, the Jaguars could be a good team.
I agree.
But do I trust that he will get the offensive coordinator at this moment? No, I would be very concerned with it. I would feel confident about Aaron Glenn's decision-making to get that guy. I really would.
And the issue that I have with Robert Saleh is like when they hired him over from the 49ers, he was this big like rah guy. He looked like the culture guy you're talking about. And then he went to the Jets and the guy was like a statue. The guy didn't show like any emotion. The guy wouldn't argue with any referees. And that's one reason why like Jets fans were so annoyed with him. It's like they thought they were getting a different guy. And instead they got just like a cold stone statue who just, he talks this high, all gas, no brakes type of thing, but he wasn't any of that. It was almost like it felt like they hired a different guy. And
that's one of the things as a head coach, you have to be your authentic self. And I think that maybe he felt like it was difficult to do that in New York or whatever reason. He wasn't quite himself.
Yeah.
And I think if you did get like pure authentic Robert Saleh, you'd be getting a better version of him.
And maybe that's what makes him one of these guys that's just a better coordinator than a head coach, which is fair. Saleh's defensive play calling style is pretty vanilla too. He kind of leans on the talent of his players that he has. And so the Jags would have to do a lot of work on the back end and the secondary and things like that. But it kind of would go the path, whether it's Saleh, Glenn, even Patrick Graham, who, I did a little bit of research on him, but what he did with that Vegas defense was pretty impressive. Like as far as going from like 31st in the league, and then moving them up like all the way up to like 9th or something like that. And spending the second least amount of money on payroll for defense. And that included Chandler Jones, who didn't play. And so, he did some impressive things on the defensive side. I know Jags fans don't want to win 14-17. And that's what these coaches would come in and probably do. But that begs the question is realistically Trevor Lawrence a guy who can win you the game 21-24 versus a guy who's going to score 30 points and win that way? And that's a harder question to answer.
And that's a big thing, man. I feel like this hires so much about Trevor Lawrence, and it would feel different if this is if we're about to draft Trevor Lawrence, and it's like, okay, yeah, let's bring in Aaron Glenn, let's bring in the culture guy. But man, like it feels like as an organization we're failing Trevor Lawrence a lot more than Trevor Lawrence is failing the Jaguars. So it's almost 100%. Like you need to do right by him and just bring in the best offensive guy. He just signed a big contract. He's gone out there and had the answer for so much of the Jags like negligence all over. Dating all the way back to the Urban Meyer days, and it just he does deserve some of the blame for stuff. Like he could play better at times, but man, it feels like if you were to put him on the Vikings, like he'd be having the year that even potentially a better year that Sam Darnold has. If you put him in a lot more stable, functioning organization that's not backstabbing each other and that's not doesn't have all these disagreements between the the head coach and the GM and isn't just running the team ridiculously the way we're being run. I mean, it feels like it'd be better, but now, like, yeah, you got to do right by him. And, it feels like now we're the team that we got to finally, when you look back at our previous 2 head coaching hires, not counting Urban Meyer, you hired Doug Peterson and Doug Marrone. I mean, 2 older kind of offensive guys. I mean, it's time that we go into that step of hiring the offensive minded guy under 40, which is basically what Trevor Lawrence asked for when he was in his interview today. So
not only in his interview, he talked about it in the press conference last week as well. He would love to have the young offensive guy that installs that system and they ride right for years to come. And I think that's what Shad wants too. And regardless of what we want, I think that that's what the owner wants and that's what the quarterback wants. And that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it feels like to me, it's like, we talk about could Balky get fired from one of these candidates? Now, if Ben Johnson says I can't work with Balky, so that makes the Jaguars pivot to a Liam Coen who will work with Balky, I feel like Balky will be here. But if Ben Johnson and Liam Coen say no, and then we have to pivot to Robert Saleh, I think that is what would ultimately make Shad Khan fire Trent Baalke potentially, if the drop off is that much. Because, but I don't know. I'm just in a camp of like, I don't want to overthink it. We've all been saying Ben Johnson for the longest time, and the new opponent into the arena, which is Liam Coen. I'm kind of all in on Ben Johnson, and I'll accept Liam Coen, but I don't know if I'd be overly excited about him.
I mean, you guys aren't worried about that Cowboys job opening up. I mean, that was.
That's
I don't know. I think Deion's going there, right?
Coach Prime.
Okay. Okay. All right.
We'll see.
Yeah. I
mean, I would be shocked if Ben Johnson wanted to work for Jerry Jones. That would be surprising to me.
Yeah.
But not Shad Khan?
Shad Khan's not going to be up as what all the time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like when we talk about the attractiveness of Jaguars coaching jobs, and we talk about the perpetual losing organization. It's like I don't know. I don't know if the pressure feels that high here right now. Like, is this a high pressure job to come into versus going to the Cowboys, where it's America's team? Obviously, you got the big star on the helmet, but man, as a first time head coach, I don't know. It just feels like it'd be so much nicer to come to, small town Jacksonville, and
that's not how they're thinking.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what. Well, I agree with you, Jason. But if you're being a strategic man, a strategic person, would you rather go play in the AFC South or the NFC North with Chicago, or the AFC West with Las Vegas, or the NFC East with the Cowboys? I mean, Commanders, Eagles, that's not easy to get past, right? If you're being strategic, I think the AFC South is a lot more winnable than either of those jobs. And if the head coach is making his decision based off that, that's probably a problem. Probably a problem. Like, you want more competitiveness in that. But if you're smart and trying to make sure you can succeed, AFC South ain't a bad way to go.
That's true. But do coaches think that way?
I that's where I'm at. Like,
no.
I don't know how coaches think.
Like, I'm sorry, I'm going to the Cowboys. If I'm a coach taking my first job and it's like the Cowboys or the Jags, I'm like, okay, one of the most historic franchises ever.
Right, but that's you personally. We don't know how any of them thinking,
that's true.
Honestly.
That's,
that's the facts.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Big shout out to Surfing Nerd with a $10 donation. He says, just a small token of my appreciation of you all. Here's to a new year and new beginnings in Duval. Hope we get it right this time. And thank you so much. And that's the thing. That's what's so scary is right now Shad Khan, we know he has no idea what the hell he's doing. So we just got to hope that he accidentally gets it right.
Stumbles into it.
Yeah. That's just the
well, I will say, whoever told him that the offense was far too predictable was absolutely right.
I wonder who.
I'm pretty sure it was the Eagles defensive player that said we knew that play was coming when it happened. It was probably him.
That's right. Yes, it was. It was absolutely.
Or maybe it was me who's
was that
calling on the
Nakobe Dean?
I think maybe he's been watching my live play-by-plays where I've been predicting every single play before it happens. Maybe it's that.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Dalton is in Shad Khan's ear.
Dude,
Oh, what do you guys think about? What do you think about this? Because I put it on Twitter, and I want to get your thoughts because I got a bunch of mixed results on Twitter. Fred Taylor came out and said that Doug Peterson wasn't able to quote go into his bag because of the lack of personnel, and that's from Fred Taylor. It's not from me. Think there's any validity to that?
No, I think Fred's a smart guy. I don't know that he's always the best analyst.
And I'll tell you this, I don't believe it just because like there's times where Brian Thomas Jr. gets like no targets. There's time where Britton Strange has big days. Then the next week he gets like 8 snaps. So like, I mean, save me that crap. I appreciate Fred Taylor. I mean, nothing against him, but I don't know. It's
only thing I think you could say in that regard is like maybe your offensive line ain't going to block for 3.5 seconds, which most of them don't. Like, look at what happened to the Vikings this past week. Sam Darnold was trying to hold the ball for more than 3 seconds and they got killed.
Yeah. That
Come on, that's former Jaguar great Cam Robinson you're talking
With
bad
12
about.
pressures allowed, something like that.
Have we talked about him on the channel at all?
So,
yeah, that
even if there is some validity that the talent could be better, there was no excuse for how poorly coached that offense was or defense.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
So real quick, dude, want to give a shout out to BetUS. We're going to check out some odds on here. It's funny is like, last week we were checking out like Jags head coaching odds, but they removed it now. There's no there's Bears, there's Cowboys. I don't know why
Patriots. It was there earlier today.
It was there. Yeah. We'll see. We'll click on Travis Hunter. How about overall picks? We'll do some we'll take a look at, and let's go Super Bowl too. I want to see what Super Bowl winner. So
I had to go to NFL and then props and then special props to find it earlier.
Okay. Yeah, let's see. Next yeah, I mean, this is under the same bucket, so we'll see. So right now the Bears, Ben Johnson's at -250, so that's the favorite there. For the Cowboys, man, Deion Sanders is even, and second is Kellen Moore. And look at these. These are wide spreads. Jason Witten at +150. That's a little interesting. I never even heard that name get circulated. And everything else is like in the thousands. So that's something to look at. Travis Hunter, will he play at least 20 offensive snaps and play 20 or less defensive snaps in the first 4 games that he participates in? Guess it's -175.
Will he play at least 20 offensive snaps and play 20 or less defensive? So that's basically asking, is he going to be a wide receiver, not a corner?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. And they don't want to count if he just goes in there on like stupid little prop plays or whatever.
Right.
That's a bad bet. That's like a parlay you're not getting parlay odds on. That's terrible.
And you're also not getting payout until what? In a year? So overall picks. First overall pick, Shadur or Cam Ward right now is the favorite at -130. Shadur Sanders -110. Do you guys feel like Titans are going to grab a quarterback, or you think, I don't know, they're in a weird situation because I think they're going to be terrible next year, but you can never bank on getting #1 overall pick. I mean, do you guys see them going quarterback here?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think Callahan's a guy that prides himself on being able to develop quarterbacks. So I think for sure they go quarterback. It'll buy him some more time with his own guy, and he may be able to hit a home run. And so I think it's in his best interest and in the team's best interest and to take a quarterback there and probably be Cam Ward.
How about you, Jordan? You think they're taking quarterback?
Yeah, I don't think they should, but I think they will. And I think Cam Ward has a chance. He has a chance to be special.
Interesting.
And maybe that's as much as you can ask for. But to me, he's just not nearly on the level of like guys that should go in the top 5. Like, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels. I don't
Trevor
think
Lawrence.
he's on that. Yeah, Trevor, obviously. He's very inaccurate at times. He really hasn't operated a pro-style offense at all. When you see him operating from within the pocket, it's almost always on RPOs, which you can do RPOs, but like you're going to have to add more to the menu in the NFL than what he's used to. And his decision making's all over the place. His accuracy's all over the place. But he does have a sixth sense about him, avoiding pressure, playmaking, throwing off platform, throwing on the run, and odd arm angles, playmaking. So he has a shot. It'll be really fascinating to see how his career pans out.
Yeah, and just got to let me know. I'll say it one last time, okay? If the Jaguars had just gone 1-1 against the Titans, we'd have number 1 overall pick. Just saying. Just saying. But I will say it's not as valuable as I was thinking it'd be, but we'd probably – I don't even know. Like, could you even trade back if you're at this pick? I guess with the Raiders being that 6 or whoever, maybe you can move back a little bit. But
I think they could. That's what I had them doing. I had them trading back, and it'd be really cool for them to be able to acquire some more draft capital and just build out that roster a little bit more and take a shot later on, go get a veteran quarterback, whatever it may be. But Cam Ward, I think, is the most likely scenario at this point.
Yeah. So any chance that you think Travis Hunter might be sitting there at number 5 overall?
I think there's a chance. I would bet against it, quite frankly. I don't think he will be there, but I think it's possible.
Yeah.
It's a non-zero chance. My guess right now would be Cam Ward is off the board. It seems like it's moving towards Shedeur Sanders, maybe not going in the top 4, but I'm still going to say.
How would you mock your top 5 picks right now?
Yeah, I would say Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, both come off the board. I would say Travis Hunter comes off the board and Abdul Carter comes off the board, and then you have the Jaguars taking Will Johnson.
Will Johnson. All right. So we'll see. We'll see. It'll be definitely fascinating. So now finally, Super Bowl odds. Right now, no love for the Texans in the AFC South, plus 5,000. By far the longest odds, with the second to last coming in with the Commanders at plus 2,800. I mean, it's a tight race right now between Detroit Lions plus 280, Chiefs plus 350, Ravens plus 450, Bills plus 550, and Eagles plus 425. I know for me, I probably say I can't say anybody else but the Chiefs until they get dethroned. That's just my opinion. Jason, where you at, Mr. Gambling expert in here?
I mean, it's hard to bet against the Lions, but that's why they're the favorites by a lot there. If I'm betting, I'm putting a flyer on the Texans just because of the odds. I'm putting a flyer on the Commanders because of the odds. And then I may put a little bit on the Ravens. I think that's where I would go with that. I'd probably bet all 4 of those teams. Obviously not a unit equally to all of them, but it's just hard to see the Lions not winning. I mean, they just look like such a complete team, even with the injuries, even as dominant the Chiefs have been. But as a gambler, throwing money down on the Commanders and the Texans is not a bad idea.
How about you, Jordan?
Chiefs. I've been on the Chiefs and Eagles all year. I'm not changing that now.
It's just hard because, man, the Chiefs felt like it's like a down year for them, and they legitimately went like 15-1.
Yeah, their defense is Spagnuolo.
Yeah. Future Jags head coach?
Future Jags guy.
Yeah, it'll be fast. I mean, I'm really looking forward to this weekend just because wild card weekend it feels like a lot of lopsided matchups, and it did turn out to be that way. But I'm excited for this weekend because it feels like we got a lot better games. I mean, for me, it feels like you have 3 teams in the AFC: the Chiefs, Ravens, and Bills. Like I don't think the Texans will come close to the Chiefs this upcoming weekend, and we'll see if the Commanders could be a sneaky good team. Not a lot of people putting a lot on them, but I mean, that was a fun game. I mean, by far the funnest game, this weekend between them and the Bucks. But we'll see. Are they a year early? Maybe, but it's fun watching Jane Daniels, man. He's been turned out to be a pretty good player.
I think he's the second best rushing quarterback in the NFL already. And the way they're able to manipulate defenses with his, when you have a quarterback that can run like that, it just changes the numbers. You can't account for him. You can't account for everybody when you have a quarterback like that. Lamar, Jaden, the way they can run, and then he's also a tremendous passer. So, and you've got Terry McLaurin making plays all over the place.
Yeah.
That's fun. I still think their defense has a little bit more to improve before they can kind of take the NFC throne.
Yeah. And I've told people, I know one person who's a Commanders fan. I was like, they think they've arrived. Like, dude, just relax. You got to stack some good years, okay? I've seen my team have a good year, and I say, oh, it's fine. Jamal Agnew fumbled in the red zone. We'll be back next year, and we don't get back, okay? We go through a lot of stress before we even sniff it again. So, yeah, that's just what it is. But yeah, shout out to BetUS. You guys can check them out. Use promo code YouTube150 for a 150% deposit bonus. We had a super chat come in from Tekken. He says, who would you say is worse in terms of building up a football team, Shad Khan or Jerry Jones? I got into an argument with a relative about it. We'll let Jason go first. How you feeling?
It's Shad Khan. It's absolutely Shad Khan. I mean, Jerry Jones has done it. Jerry Jones has reached the pinnacle of the sport. Yeah, it's been a while, but what's
when we were born, were you alive?
I mean,
how many Botox injections ago was that?
Listen, Khan has the worst average of any professional sports owner of all time. So how can you make the argument that he's not the worst?
I just think
alone.
Putting it in those terms of building up a football team, neither of them is. Shad Khan's not the one building the football team.
Well, isn't Jerry Jones also the GM?
He is, but they have a guy, I always forget his name, who actually runs the draft, which is pretty
Ethan
much
Waugh?
all they do.
Yeah. and his kid, like Khan, is also really involved as well.
I mean, Jerry Jones definitely knows way more about football than Shad Khan, but I mean, Shad Khan's the ideal owner. He gives you the money. He doesn't meddle. He comes to the stadium once every month. That's the kind of owner that you want to report to, right? Not someone that's going to be all in the middle of things and super passionate.
Quote, Shad Khan is the ideal owner. You heard it first here, folks.
No, the ideal owner from a head coach perspective.
Yeah, except he won't fire the GM, which handicaps the team. But yeah, besides that, he's really good.
From Trent Baalke's perspective, he's a great GM.
Yeah, man. For the Trent Baalke, he is the ideal owner. You're right.
Yeah,
that's right. For a GM in general.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, like I'm saying, and I've said this before, the reasons why this job is so, seems so attractive to a potential head coach candidate is for the same exact reasons why we feel like he's such a terrible owner, because he gives people time. He isn't meddling. He gives money to be able to succeed, and it's just really, really annoying how he keeps the cancer around the organization, which is Trent Baalke. It's mind-boggling to everybody besides Shad Khan and maybe his son. I don't know. Nobody has been able to rationally explain it to me, and I'm still trying to find somebody who can explain that to me like I'm 5.
I mean, we have a quantifiable metric in wins and losses that we can evaluate, and Shad Khan is the worst with that metric. So if you want to look at other reasons and meddling,
That's
not
fair.
meddling, and keeping people too long, hiring people, do whatever you want. The guy can't win games. So glad he kept the team here. Thankful for that. Glad he paying for half the stadium. Happy for that. Doesn't win games.
Yeah, but we're in a rebuild. You can't hold that against them.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. That's right.
We're in a 12-year, 13-year rebuild now. Come on, man. You gotta give them time. This stuff takes time.
That's true.
But yeah. Well, all right. So we got some football games this weekend. In the AFC, of course, we have the Chiefs and the Texans playing. That's going to be the AFC South 4:30 Saturday slot. And then we also have the Ravens and Bills playing against each other. Any of these matchups intrigue you guys a little bit more?
I mean, Ravens and Bills.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
What a divisional round matchup that is. In Buffalo. I'm taking Buffalo. I think it could go either way, but I'm taking Buffalo.
How about you, Jason?
I mean,
Derrick Henry,
we are getting to the time of year where the games are getting good. I mean, I think a lot of the games are intriguing here. Texans Chiefs, probably the worst game, but like you said, Bills Ravens.
It could be competitive though.
The Texans Chiefs
will be.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably will be. I mean, it's the semifinals, so it's got to be. It probably will be. Lions Commanders will be interesting. Eagles Rams. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited. and I'm off Monday, so screw y'all. So
Hey, I'm off Monday too, so
hey,
fuck you too.
Shout out MLK. Shout out MLK.
Yeah, shout out.
NFC is going to be really cool. I mean, I think the least appealing game, like you mentioned, is Chiefs and Texans
Yeah.
on paper. But every other game is like, damn, here we go. This is what we've been waiting for all year.
Yeah, I think for me, Bills and Ravens, that game is a step above everybody else. I mean, that game's freaking awesome. Especially like I feel like in the NFC, like I don't think the Rams and Commanders are very serious contenders. So, I think it's going to be Eagles and Lions kind of easily getting into that NFC Championship game. But man, that Bills Ravens game, and both these teams are in the same situation where they're both way underperforming in the playoffs. Like both of them have these quarterbacks where like they haven't gone to the Super Bowl yet. I mean, Josh Allen only one AFC Championship game appearance under his belt. I mean,
yeah, but let's be real. He's played better in the playoffs overall than Lamar Jackson has.
Yeah, that's true.
Good point.
Significantly.
Good point. I think the Derrick Henry aspect, though, obviously changes a lot of dynamics with that Ravens offense, which will help Lamar Jackson. But you're right.
Right. I was just saying, like, when you talk about their two resumes so far throughout their careers, I think Josh Allen has proven a lot more in the playoffs.
It's just a damn shame that in the 2000s and the 2010s you had the evil empire of the New England Patriots in AFC, and we got another one now. The 2020s have been the Kansas City Chiefs, just not allowing. It's almost like Josh Allen is Peyton Manning in that situation, man. Like they can't get past them in the playoffs. They may be better than in the regular season and flashier and sexier in the regular season, but man, once the postseason gets here, that's when Patrick Mahomes eats. That's when Tom Brady eats. I mean, that's when these guys do.
Inning eats.
Yeah, that's. That's the exciting part, man. And like I said, I can't pick against the Chiefs until they get proven otherwise. So,
for sure. I don't know how. I mean, it's incredible. The Eagles firing Andy Reid. Them being able to go get Steve Spagnuolo. And then, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other talented dudes there. But just like, that's, two Hall of Fame coaches. Like, Spagnuolo is a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator, bottom line. And, in my opinion, the greatest quarterback of all time. Arguably the greatest tight end of all time. Top 5, without question. And one of the best interior defensive linemen we've seen in a generation. Obviously, Aaron Donald, I think, is the GOAT, but
I just love how they have 4 tight ends at any point could go off for 75 yards in any given. How do you defend that? It's crazy. It's, as a gambler, I love betting the Chiefs tight ends because they always hit the over on receptions. Just pick any of them. Noah Gray, he's been a gold mine for me all year. Just like it doesn't matter who they have. They just go out there and win. And it obviously helps having Patrick Mahomes, but man, they're just on another level. You're right.
Yeah. So I got a question for y'all about, Trey Smith, Chiefs right guard. Jaguars might be in the market for a right guard this offseason. You're going to make another right guard the highest paid guard in football? If you're Trent Baalke?
So did Brandon Sherritt, did he replace that right guard? It wasn't Zane Beadles, was it?
No, you're talking about no. From the Panthers. You're talking about your buddy he was all pro with the Panthers. It was
yeah. Jeez, what was his name?
Andrew Norwell.
Yeah. So dude, that right guard position, it's just.
But wasn't he playing left guard, or am I wrong about that?
I think he was right guard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't remember at this point.
I mean, isn't that position just built to be the highest paid guard in the NFL?
Gotta be.
I mean, you go from Zane Beadles to
Beadles wasn't up there, but Norwell was. And
Beadles I thought was pretty expensive, right?
No, it wasn't that bad.
So from him to Norwell,
sign him.
So from him to Norwell to Sheriff to to your boy,
Trey Smith, maybe.
To Trey Smith.
So just if you're an all pro, just come to Jacksonville and ruin your career. That's the moral of the story.
Come to Jacksonville. You've already hit your prime, so you can go ahead and rest and retire. I mean, I do give a lot of credit to Brandon Sheriff, dude. This guy, like, he'll get so beat up, like he'll be like missing half his leg on the sideline and somehow come back into the game. Like he's I mean that guy's incredible when it comes to
he has dealt with some pretty serious injuries. Like we give him a lot of crap, but the things that he's played through has been pretty impressive. It really
there's times where you see him on the sideline and it's like, oh yeah, this guy's done. And then he's in like the next series. It's like, what?
Yeah.
How does this guy
It's
do
insane.
that? Yeah.
Especially for a guy who missed so much time before he got to Jacksonville. In Jax, he got here and he's like, I'm not coming out, coach.
Yeah.
Put me in, coach.
That was a big thing is like, with him with the Washington. I mean, he missed a lot of games and he was injured a lot. And he definitely brought that over. Although he's not missing games, he definitely, it never felt like we've really ever had him at 100%. It's always like he's always been like dealing with stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, all right, guys.
So do y'all want Trey Smith or not?
Sure. We'll take as many good players as we can
Let's
get.
do it.
Hey,
$22 million a year.
Sure.
I mean, my thing is like if it's somebody other than Trent Baalke making the picks, he can do whatever the hell he wants, man. I'm down for whatever. I'll be on board. Okay, I'll even take the guy with the longest arms. I don't care as long as it's not Trent Baalke drafting them.
Hey, Trey Smith, he's a big boy. He's got plenty of length.
There was a thing where like on where Trent Baalke in a press conference kept saying roll up his sleeves, get to work. The real question is he wants to roll up the sleeves to measure people's arm length, right?
Yeah, seriously.
Yes,
yeah.
But
But
that tape measure down there to the wrist.
Exactly. Why wait for the underwear Olympics when you can do it now?
Yep.
Is this the point of the show we talk about the inauguration, or is that later?
We'll do that on your show.
Okay, all right.
Friday night.
Sure what outline I was looking at.
That's like your show Friday night, 10:45 p.m. That's when.
Yeah, okay, you're right. My bad.
Yeah. Well, all right, guys. Been a good show. Appreciate everyone being here. Like I said, look, if the Jaguars have a head coach hired by this time next week, we'll probably come on here and do a show. If not, I wouldn't expect us here next week. We'll be we'll be on and off, I guess, this off season when there's stuff going on. We'll come out here and talk. If not, then don't expect us, okay? But yeah. But shout out to these guys for coming on here. We have Jordan DeLugo at Jordan DeLugo on Twitter. He's also got the Gin Jag YouTube channel. Jordan, you've been pumping out the content. What you've been putting out and what you got coming up?
Tomorrow morning, we're going to be taking a look at what Dane Brugler from The Athletic had for the Jaguars in his 2-round mock draft. Exciting stuff. And then I'm going to be traveling, so I don't know. We're going to Pigeon Forge in Asheville, but I'll be putting out some different things. We'll see. We'll see what's popping. And I know Brian Flores is going to be in town Friday, or not in town, maybe in town. I don't know. Vikings are eliminated. He will be interviewing with the Jaguars one way or the other. And Liam Coen interviewed with the Jags today. So maybe talking some coaching, obviously talking some coaching, but it'll be a little bit less consistent over this next couple days.
Yeah. So give Jordan some space. Okay. He's out here pumping out the work so he can make these trips to Asheville. Okay. So yeah. So thanks, Jordan, for coming on. Jason on Jaguars United, man, dude, you're blowing up, bro. You're blowing up. You're getting the big people hitting you up, man. Hey, let us know what's coming up on your channel.
I'm just gonna stick to Reddit, create some posts on Reddit, and just kind of get some feedback from the average Jaguar fan, things like that. But we'll probably do shows usually Tuesdays and Fridays, but you know how that goes. So
yeah,
if you're subscribed to my channel, you'll get a notification hopefully, and you'll know. So
yeah, Travis on last Friday. That was a great show.
Oh yeah, I love Travis. Good guy.
I got a lot of good insight. There's always good insight. And yeah, Jason, if you think he's controversial on here with Jordan, you got to go to a show with Travis, man. He puts him in the hot seat. He's got Travis sweating, man.
I can't help it. I gotta stay true to myself. That's why I like talking to you guys. I can do that.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
Yeah,
and that's all we can ask for.
Yeah, that's all we can do, man. But yeah, both these guys' links are down in the description box below. Go check them out. Subscribe to them. Look, if you guys aren't subscribed to them, you guys go down and boom, the Jaguars community gains 2 subscribers. Because I knew you subscribed to me because you can't leave comments in this live chat if you're not a subscriber. Because I'm opposed to all freeloaders. So yeah, none of
beautiful.
That. None of that up in here.
Big time in us.
Yeah, I'm big time, and you got to hit the subscribe button if you want to leave comments in this comment section. But Yeah, man. Appreciate everyone for being here. If you guys can do us a huge favor, drop a like on your way out. YouTube likes it, so I got to tell you guys to do that. And yeah, we'll shout out to BetUS for powering the stream. Like I said, we went over a bunch of different odds, lots of fun odds. I mean, check out BetUS. There's a bunch of cool different things to go on, including that really complicated Travis Hunter one, which I still don't understand the math behind, but it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, appreciate all you guys for being here. And with all that said, go Jags.